Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we shall discuss how to build a legion. So that means you will see some of my models and I will tell you how to go about building a legion and maybe using some Games Workshop kits instead of Forge World ones to save some money. As I said before, the start of the Horus Heresy demands a bigger monetary commitment than Warhammer 40k. But that doesn't mean that we can't use some tricks to make the start of the game even cheaper. So, you now see here my champion. He's the champion from the from the Forge World kit. I gave him a bigger sword from Conversion World, but I think the kit with the champion and the Master of Signals, which is 36 euros at the moment in the Forge World store, is a good deal, because if you think about it, 2 characters for Warhammer 40k cost at least 25 euros each. So this is quite the bargain, I would say. Other than that, there is some models in the Games Workshop range that you can easily convert to Horus Heresy models. Like for my Iron Warriors, this Warsmith from 3rd edition. I don't know if they still sell it, but I have bought this dude and basically just given him an Mark III backpack, and he cost me like 12 euros. So that's very cheap. I replaced the claw arm with a thunder hammer because I didn't like the claw arm, but you could perfectly use him as he is, even with the backpack that he has. It's a very good way of making an HQ. This one is kind of more tailored towards the Iron Warriors, but there's a lot of kits in the Games Workshop range, especially for Ultramarines, that you can use for starting a legion. Also, this is my chaplain from the Space Marine heroes, the Horus Heresy heroes. So my chaplain that's one of my earliest models, maybe the first model I've ever painted. The chaplain from the Betrayal at Calth box. He's also a good HQ. So after we have started talking about the HQs, we can talk about the troops. So for starting a legion, I would say you would need 2 tactical squads. Here you see the gems of my collection. Mark II Marines, my Mark II Tactical Marines for my Iron Warriors. These are sadly out of production, but maybe if you're watching this video at a later date, they are in production again. So I would advise you, start your legion off with 1 HQ and 2 troops. These will cover you with the 1 HQ and the 2 troops to at least 1,500 points, I would say. After that, I would add another character. And depending on what legion you play, I would maybe take a Siegebreaker, maybe a champion. I'm someone that likes fighty characters and thinks epic duels in the middle of the field between 2 characters are something very cool. That's why I usually take a champion. But if you don't like the champion, take a Herald or someone else. Oh no, not the Herald. The Herald is a support character, but yeah. So after you have gotten your 2 troops and your HQ sorted, then you maybe get a tank. And here comes the first thing to mind. This is my Predator. It is a 40k Predator. Is it a wrong model for the Horus Heresy? Definitely not. The mass pattern was around in the Horus Heresy. I've just added some edged brass stuff to my Predator to make him look more Iron Warriors. But this is a perfectly fine Iron Warriors vehicle. Nobody has ever said that Warhammer 40k vehicles are not all. Some of them aren't usable, but some of them are. Like this Predator, and now you will see the worst model I've ever painted, possibly. My Iron Warriors Rhino. This looks hideous. So please, if you think you can't paint and you will never learn painting, look at this and look at what I'm painting now. Not that it's amazing what I paint now, but that Rhino is hideous. Also, it's a mass pattern Rhino. So you can also use the mass pattern Rhinos. You do not need to buy Demos pattern Rhinos to represent your Rhinos in the Horus Heresy. I won't show you that much of the Rhino because it really looks hideous, but so we've talked about the troops and the HQs and some kits that you can use in the Horus Heresy. I shall talk a little bit more about that. So you can use the Rhinos, as we said. You can use the Predator, as I said before, not with the laser cannon, with the last cannon turret, because that wasn't around in the Heresy, but you can use the last cannon sponsons, and you have a perfectly fine Predator or a Predator Destructor with the last cannon sponsons. But basically you can use the Predator, the Rhino, the Land Raider, the Vindicator, and the Whirlwind in the Horus Heresy. The 40k versions of that kit. The Horus Heresy versions of the kits you can obviously use. So yeah, that's what you can use from GW. So after you've had your troops and your HQs, you wanted to add something, maybe vehicles like we talked before, or one of the awesome Legion Contemptor Dreadnoughts. So, for example, this is one of my 2 Iron Warriors Contemptor Dreadnoughts. Yeah, he's in the thick of fighting, and I think a Contemptor Dreadnought is something that belongs into a Horus Heresy army, because they're so amazing, either with 2 melee weapons or 2 shooting weapons. But as you wish. Also, you could take the Boxnaut from the 40k range and use him in Horus Heresy perfectly fine, or the Venerable Dreadnought, or the Ironclad. I have an Ironclad for my Iron Warriors, but he isn't painted yet, so I'm not showing him off. So after you've got your Contemptor, you should get some specific Legion units. Maybe your Legion Terminators or something else, if your Legion doesn't have the Terminators as elites. But for example, you could get yourself a Legion Terminator unit, like these Tyrant Siege Terminators. You could get them and paint them accordingly. I would advise you to not rush a Heresy army. It is better to choose a scheme that you like and that you want to learn than you choosing a scheme that you can easily pull through. Get to grips with your army, paint them, and think about what you can add. If you're playing Centurion army lists, like 1.5k with a maximum of Dreadnoughts and Skimmers, I think. I've never played the Centurion game, so I can't tell. But if you play a Centurion game, you're almost finished with the army. This, what I've showed you, 2 troops, 1 HQ, 1 Dreadnought, and 1 Legion-specific unit, or a Predator or a Rhino, then you could get 1,000 points out of it. The Tyrant Siege Terminators are quite expensive in points, so I think they would bring you over 1,000 points. But nobody ever said that it's wrong to start with a Centurion army at first. So having 1,500 points of infantry and dreadnoughts and HQs is a good start to the game. It's a good way to get into the game. So I would say this makes a lot of sense to start. And it is easy and even cheap. Not when you use Mark II Marines, because you would have to buy them from eBay. But if you manage to buy Mark III or Mark IV from Games Workshop, which I've done before, then you're definitely and you buy them from Wayland Games or Element Games or any third-party retailer that that gives you 20% off. You can easily start the game on the cheap. So let's imagine you have already gotten a Terminator unit and a Dreadnought, and you want to expand more. Vehicles would definitely help. So, for example, get one of these amazing Vindicator laser destroyers. Yes, I wanted to show mine off, but yeah, that's basically it. This has been kinda a pilot episode to the whole thing. I hope you liked it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video with your friends. Join the Discord server. Stay healthy. Keep the heresy train alive. And goodbye.